Hey everyone, it's Jay Wolf here again. This is going to be a part 3 of my, actually it's going to end up being a 4-part guide on how to build your own desktop PC. I promise this video will be much shorter. The second one, to assemble a computer, it's hard to do it in a compressed state, especially in a video, so it is actually a little longer than I would have liked. But for the cable management part and just some miscellaneous things we're going to go through here, I promise this will be quicker. So let's jump in. So the first thing I like to focus on in cable management is making sure that the front, where you're going to actually be able to see through, actually looks nice and tidy. Because the back you're not really going to see. We're really just tying that stuff down. I like it to be as neat as possible. We're really just tying it down so we can fit that back panel on without any strain. But as you saw in our part 2 guide, if you watched that, is we actually were kind of paying some attention to cable management as we were running this. And as you can see here, there's some of the wires we can't really do much about. These right here, you can't do nothing about with the GPU wires. This right here, I would actually, if this was a higher end power supply, this probably would have been all black, which I really would have liked. And our SATA wires, we can't really hide those. This is a pretty clean, and I actually did little to no management here. And as you can see, this case has this panel here at the bottom that we actually could slide back and forth to hide all these wires. There's a ton of wires down here that you saw that we used to run up into the back of the case for all our connections. And this actually covers it up nicely. There's not much we can do with those. We did tie these down up here already that you can see, and I actually might, yeah, let's do this right now. There's just a little bit of slack up here, and there's actually here, you can see there's a ton of wires up here, and there's actually a couple fans up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another wire tie and just kind of tie those off so they're all tidy and together, so we make sure that they're not going to be rubbing up or have any inclination of rubbing up against that fan. And we'll just carefully cut that off. So as you can see, everything looks pretty clean. I mean, this thing has some great rubber grommets here to hide your wires at, but everything looks pretty clean. About as clean as we can get it for this case, which is, once we get the panel on, it'll actually look pretty nice. But let's actually jump around to the back here. There's nothing we can do about these two USB connectors. And I've actually already done a little bit here. For the back of the case, one thing you want to pay particular attention to is look at your case, and this actually has a little cutout there that helps give you a little more room when you're doing some cable management. And this is a great case that it's got tie downs. It runs all the way down through here. So as you can see, we've tied down, try to tie as many wires as we can and try to get them as flat as possible. That way we can get that case on easily. And there's not a whole lot else that we can do here. I might put another cable, another wire tie right there, just to kind of snug those together. Those look pretty good. These down here, we'll kind of tie those together the best we can. But as you can see, I already did some of this just to keep this video a little shorter, but you basically want to, during your build process, you want to run the wires. These are mainly all my data wires and power wires for my data and for my solid state drive, hard drive, and my optical drive up here at the top. So, and all these wires down here, my front panel connector wires. Usually the biggest wire you have an issue with is this big wire here for your, and the other one right here for your motherboard power. That's usually the biggest one, but it looks pretty clean from here. I mean, this is a pretty clean setup. I already have everything hooked up, so we can actually go ahead and see if this will snap right. So now the moment of truth is what we're going to do is we're just going to put our panel on here and secure it with the thumb screws, and as you can see, it fits on there nice and tidy. There's almost no. You gotta push in a little bit. That's just how most cases are, but it fits on pretty nicely. So that's just a guide on your cable management. I like to try to keep all the cables that are running in the same direction, running the same type of pattern. As you can see here, I got different patterns for different things. I wanted to go over with for your cable management. Like I said, the most important thing here is how the front of your case looks. And as you can see here, this is a pretty clean build for what we have. There's a little more color than I would like. I'd rather have most of this being black, considering we have 4 LED blue fans. I'd rather have the majority of things in here black and blue. But there's nothing we can do about that. That's just how things are. These SATA cables, we probably could use black ones in the future, but this will work with what we have now. Black and red and blue kind of that'll go together if that's what you're liking. But that's it. That's how to run your cables. When you're doing your build, make sure to just pay attention to your cable management and where all your wires are running, especially once you get the power supply installed and start getting cables run from that. It's a pretty easy process. So that's it. Now for my part 4 guide, which actually I'm going to try to condense that as much as possible, try to make it as short as possible. We're going to install Windows. We've already did went through post on this, so I know all the components are good. We're going to install Windows and go through how to install the drivers and get this thing up and running and functioning as a normal desktop PC should.